Hi, this is Lauren from LSP Actions and welcome to this video tutorial for the Fur Babies Photoshop Action Set. This is more of a recipe guide. I'm going to move quite fast in this video. If you are unsure of any of the steps I'm taking, or you would like to go back and watch the installation guide or video tutorial 2, where I move really slowly and go over every section of everything included in the Fur Babies and how to set up for it, I'd recommend you watch those. In this video I'm going to move quite fast. I'm going to be editing this beautiful image shot by Amanda Voller, dog photographer, into a beautiful, cool, crisp scene. So let's get started. First of all, as with most edits with fur babies, I recommend starting with the Magic Image Balance Base. This will balance out the shadows and the highlights a little bit more, and you can always slide the opacity and change this to suit your image. This will give it a general balanced kick. And this is a step a lot of photographers tend to miss when editing their images. I'm going to keep it all quite dark and moody, so I'm not going to do anything else right now. I'm going to go straight down here onto the brushes, and I think get into the mucky pup section with the eye and beard stain cleanup. So this is going to play out, and it's just going to let me lift the, you can make your brush bigger or smaller by using the bracket keys, the square bracket keys here. It's just going to let me lift some of this staining here around the beard and around the eyes here. Obviously this is a lovely outdoor image of a working dog. It's not about getting every hair perfect, it's about enhancing what's already here. So we can see there before and after, just lifted some of that staining. Next up I'm going to remove some of the distractions from the image using the select and fix here, the hide action. First of all, you need to play the blue, set up this layer, and that will give you a brand new layer to work on. You need to select the patch tool here, and then you can get to work. So first of all, I'm going to remove this stick. I recommend doing it piece by piece like this, and keep playing select and fix until, you know, just kind of highlighting little bits like this. Draw around and play. Any areas that look a bit weird, you can play it again, or use the patch to replace with an area that's similar. You can also select multiple areas at once by holding down Shift key. For example here, select some of these bits. I'm holding down Shift, which allows me to make more than one selection. And play select and fix. And you can also use patch tool, or you can use the clone stamp just to clean up any last little bits that you want to tidy up there. So I'm just using that to remove these areas here, just to give this image a general neaten up before we get started on the proper editing. Now this stick here, I'm going to remove it, but there isn't a lot to go on behind it. You can see this is very much soft focus and this is sharp focus, so I'm going to hope it pulls in from here, but if not, there's a whole foot to be used there. So I'm just going to draw around here. And it's done a pretty good job there of replacing that area, but we're going to work it a little bit harder. So I'm just going to select and fix a little bit more. And I'm fully expecting to have to fill in some of this area, but it's doing a lot of the legwork for me. So now we're on patch tool, we can simply come up here, patch in to any kind of similar areas like this, because we're kind of rebuilding a leg here. There we go. So that's using select and fix just to kind of clean up these little bits and bobs here. You can do this at any stage in your pet editing. You can do it towards the end, you can do it at the beginning like I am now, but at some point you're going to want to use this to clean up, whether it's a leash, a harness, a collar, stray sticks, leaves, anything like that. So there's before and after using the select and fix. Next up, now this is not something I'd normally do on a dog edit, but I'm just going to liquify the bulge of the body here just a little bit, just to make the image a little bit more symmetrical and appealing. And that's really simply done. I'm just going to grab the Liquify tool here and just going to bring this in just a little bit, and you'll see there it makes doggy a little bit more even and alert looking. And hit OK. So there before and after those modifications there, giving us a really good base to work on. So now let's go down to these artistic enhancements a little bit here. I'm going to play the attention grab here. This will enhance attention into the dog even more because we're going for a nice dark kind of foggy bluish image here. So let's just use that to darken down a little bit. I'm going to play Bright Eyes as well. Let's just close that one down there. Again, if at any point I'm going a little bit too fast or there's any steps you're not sure of, please do watch the other tutorial videos, especially video number 2, where I go through everything and explain each section a little more. I'm going to play Bright Eyes again. The thing with these is you can play a lot of them again, although I would recommend flattening in between doing so, just to bring some attention really into the eyes here. You can also slide the opacity up to make the effect even stronger. Let's use that brightness just to kind of bring the reflection out on the nose there a little bit too. So let's take a snapshot at this point and flatten down. Okay, so next up, let's go for the Invigorate Vibrant tones on the Artist Enhancement section here. I'm just going to make this brush a little bit bigger. Let's use this to bring out some of these greens now and the warmth of the dog there, because there's some lovely tones in this image. And now Painterly Silk Fur. I love this if you're going for a fine art edit. Again, just use the brush to paint this on. Now, I'm not going to spend time cleaning up this wet face because it really tells a story, this image. So you have to decide really how far you want to push it with altering the original image to kind of suit the narrative that you're pushing across in the story. Next up, let's add the Hazy Halo. So for this one, once it's played out, you want to hit the Move tool, which is V on your keyboard, or this one up here, the little cross. And let's pop this over Doggy's head here. Onto the mask, grab a black brush, and let's paint this away from the dog. And this is a really good way to get that hazy background look that you want behind the dog there. So just painting that away. I think I'm also going to play White Areas Rescue just to bring some of these highlights down a little bit. So with this image, literally just go around and just think about what you'd like to do, what you need to do, and there's an action for everything. Use bright areas to just lift the shadow here. So let's snapshot and flatten at this point. Let's go down to the diffuse finishes now. For evening will darken this right the way down. It's not going to add the cool tone that we're after, it'll add a warmer tone, but let's just take the opacity down a little bit on this one. Let's paint this off the dog too. A black brush has already been selected, so we can use this to paint it off the subject at any point there. See there, it's really darkened down. Let's try Radiant in the warm mix before we go on to the cool mix here. I'm going to use Wizardry Midnight in the cool mix there. And let's just again take this off our subject. See there, before and after using Radiant. And now let's use Wizardry Midnight. Now this is going to give us that cool cyan tone that we're after, and you can play with the strength and painting it on and off as required. Let's put the tone up a little bit and let's start taking this away from the dog. You see, I'm adjusting the brush size as needed. And you can see I'm painting quite loosely, so what I'm going to do now is switch to a white brush again and just fill in this blue tone around the edge of the dog here. Just to make sure some of those oranges have disappeared. And you can also open up these and you can go through anything inside the diffuse finishes if they're in a group, and you can turn them all on one by one and decide whether you want to keep it exactly like that, whether you want to turn anything on or off. So that's before and after using those finishes there. I'm just thinking perhaps adding another hazy halo in on this one, just to add even more haze to that background there. You can hit Control or Command T to resize and move this halo if you wanted to. Over to the layer mask with a black brush and just paint this away from your subject. Or you can leave it on if you really like the hazy look. Now on the final touches, I'm going to play the Contrast Boost Final Kick. Paint this off with a black brush just on the darker area here. Anywhere that we don't necessarily want that contrast to be showing. Adding a soft vignette that will darken all around the edges, but again I don't want it darkening this side or this side, so you can really tailor this to suit. You can either use exactly as it is or you can tailor it to suit your image. So let's snapshot and flatten there and see how we've got on. And we got to the snapshots here in the history panel. That's where we started and that's where we finished off. So before and after. Image by Amanda Voller, dog photographer, edited with the LSP Fur Babies Photoshop Actions. I do love this misty cool edit, it's absolutely beautiful, and that's mainly using the finishes of Evening, Radiant and Wizardry Midnight. Inside Wizardry Midnight I've turned off the LSP cyan finish. It was a little too blue for my liking, but that really does depend on your image and your styling. You can check out the other video tutorials and the other recipe guides on the LSP Actions website under video tutorials and search Fur Babies. I'm Lauren, thanks for watching.